Hello! Welcome to a very special episode. This is a side quest episode. This is session 1 of Liam's story. Each character will have their own stories done in a fashion similar to this. Hopefully, not exactly like this. Unfortunately, Zoom and Roll20 weren't liking each other, so we're having to do everything on just purely on Discord, and there's no Roll20 for today's session. But any images that come up will be shared on our screen over here, which obviously Ken as Liam will be able to see, and uh, hopefully future sessions of these sort of side quests will be done the regular way once I figure out how to do it without the audio going completely bonkers on it. There is no questions for these side quests because they are magnifying glass, if you will, over each of the characters. So we don't need a question as such. The whole session is going to be a big question,
Right.
or a big old question mark, perhaps. How are you feeling, Ken?
Good, thank you. Yeah,
We're ready for today.
yeah.
And you play.
Finally, this is the third attempt, I think.
This is the third attempt. We almost gave up today when we decided that, to be honest, it just needed to be done. It's getting to a point where you guys are between episodes 15 and 16 at the moment, and maybe in 16 you'll be leaving
15,
Caer
isn't it?
Sidi. No, 15's just been recorded. That was recorded the other day.
Oh,
And then
sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know what you meant.
Yeah,
So the next episode for you guys in a couple of days' time, which is episode 16,
yeah.
potentially might see you leaving Caer City, and I wanted to have this done beforehand. So, without further ado, let's take us back a little bit to when the blast had hit Caer City. You guys had been traveling with uh, you. Liam was leading the party as the ranger through most of the terrain, which, the forest being supernatural in nature was almost impossible for anyone to traverse. Luckily, the group had you, and then you were beset upon by plants and trees that came alive whilst you were resting. Um, and at the end of that session, the end where um, most of the trees in the immediate vicinity had been taken care of, you'd all gathered together to protect yourselves from these giant treant creatures that were slowly gliding themselves towards you. Loads of them. There was, I wouldn't say hundreds, but there was more than certainly any of you could have dealt with coming your way. And that is, I think, probably the fires of Daryl's spell as it encircles you all in an attempt to protect you. Was probably the last thing you saw. Bless you.
Excuse me.
All right. Um, yes, I think
No,
that
right,
was the
yeah.
last thing that you remember before everything goes a little bit
Hazy.
hazy. Hazy indeed. Now, you are flung back. This blast knocks e- everything out of you. The air out of your lungs, the brain out of your body, almost. You just about to lose consciousness, and in that moment, almost as if it was slowed down, your eyes catch a glimpse as this pulse had ripped the redness away from this full moon in the sky. Um, Although it was quite low, it was exactly the distance for you to see this perfect silver moon reveal itself. And you felt the lurch of the transformation take you. You're in your own head, and you are a bag of emotions. There's no real thoughts there. You're just angry and hungry, and there's just a feralness, true feralness around about you. And you can feel on the outside that you must be running. You're running somewhere, and it goes on for quite a while. This feeling of adrenaline, pure rage, hunger.
I must realise what's going on because it's happened before, hasn't it?
It has, but this is so strong. You have.
Right.
I don't think Liam has lost control like this for either a very, very long time or if ever. This is
Right.
exceptionally strong, and it could be down to the place that you're in. A whole factor of reasons. It could be that the human side of
Yeah.
you had lost consciousness almost.
Yeah, I'd suggest that since what's happened to him, any transformation has been of a similar ilk which is why he hates it so much
Yeah,
because he loses all control,
yeah.
all semblance of humanity goes.
Liam loses himself, frankly.
Mm.
Everything that he values about himself just goes out the window. You are robbed of your identity when this happens, and it is frightening.
So he's probably experienced it maybe once or twice after the event because he wasn't aware of it, and
Yeah,
then he's kind of learnt to control it and refuses to
that's
hates
on
keeps it locked down until things like this. And this is the first time maybe that
happened in a
this has
while.
happened since he was vamped.
Hmm. So you can feel your body moving and
Yeah,
you're
moving somewhere,
scratching.
running.
There's almost like moments of not clarity, but where you're suddenly in this form and you can feel it, and it's a split second of woods. You know, um, there's you're in water, then you're back in the woods again, and you're running, and your body is aching. Your claws have been damaged by something. Next second, you've got blood in your mouth, and then the next second, um, there's a strange ethereal feeling around you. Um, Again, you're not in your body. It's almost like you're out of it completely, and
Right.
a golden light starts to come over your vision, as if you're completely blinded by it. And as you blink and become compass mentis, as it were, you look around and you're in a forest. Surprise, surprise. But this is a forest that you recognize. Uh, Not Caer Sidi. They're trees, different types of trees there. This is much more familiar to you. This is home. These trees, you realize, are the trees where you spent a lot of your youth climbing,
Right.
and
It was where my family lived.
yeah, and you're looking around. I want you to make me a perception check and tell me what it is, as we don't have roll 20 up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got D&D Beyond up. Where's perception? Perception. And that is a 24 total.
24. Quite perceptive. In your fear, and the rage is gone, by the way. There is now now you're starting to feel like Liam again. The rage has gone, the hunger has gone, and
And I realise what's happened.
yeah, yeah, you
I'll
absolutely
be
realize what's
I'll be
happened.
sobbing. I'll be crying,
Yeah.
sobbing,
You're
hating
crying,
hating myself.
you're crying, and your voice sounds weird. Um, you're much higher than you're used to, or at least you remember. Um, and your perception is so high. You look at your hands, younger hands, much younger.
Dreaming back that I'm a child.
Yeah. You you look around and there is tears down your face, but you're still able to be aware of what's happening around you. And there's a woman, or at least it looks like it must be a woman. She's part owl, and you've seen Faye before.
Yeah.
Um, so you immediately recognize this person as a Fae. Very tall, but she's up in a tree and she's watching you.
Oh, okay.
And she's looking down at you. She's not saying anything at the moment. She's just watching. But you can see her. Um, and I think Liam has a moment where um the shock of seeing somebody else here throws him a little bit. And suddenly you can see you. Your perspective comes from further into the woods, which is a bit darker area. You're on all fours stalking, and you can see the young boy version of you in the center clearing of this forest. And you see the woman, but you are stalking, and then snap, you're back to yourself again. And the vision you saw of yourself, the person that you see in the body of Liam, is a 13-year-old version of yourself.
Right.
Um, Yeah,
Weird.
yeah, very weird. What does
What's the
Liam do
connection
in this moment?
between the prowling creature
Yeah,
and the boy?
yes, you suddenly flick, and it wasn't intentional. You don't know
Is
how
it
to control that.
repeating looking, or was it just a once off?
Yep, it just happened, and when it happened, that feeling of rage hits you again, and then because
Right.
you want to recoil away from it, you suddenly flip back into your human body.
Yeah.
So there is this, and your perception is quite high. Let me just I don't really have any stats. There is, you as the boy Liam see out the corner of your eye this dark giant wolf stalking, and
Is
imagine
it a proper wolf, or is it a horrible
it's
hybrid?
a proper wolf.
It's a proper
I
wolf.
will show you the picture because you see it at the corner of your eye, and you see. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. I don't want to add an emoji to this. This would be weird. I think I just need to click go for that. Go. Send. There you go.
Oh my god.
That is what you see. So the 2 points, the red eyes staring at you between you and this woman. Um,
Big wolf.
it's huge. This wolf is like a, in a D&D sense, it's a dire wolf. But it is
Yeah.
also, it's not quite solid. There is this aura around it of wispiness, as if this thing is not it's not solid. If you were to
Yeah.
touch it, it wouldn't be there.
It's an apparition
Yeah, or a
of sorts.
spirit or something.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a way cool picture.
yeah, and this is, and it's just
Oh,
stalking. It's not
oh,
coming no closer to you, but it's also not going away,
yeah.
and it's just circling you. What does Liam do now that you're in this younger body of yours?
It's Liam, still Liam.
You have all of your memories.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
you just have this sudden realization that you're in a much younger body.
Yeah.
I don't think you have anything with you in terms of equipment. You're
Right.
dressed in the way you used to dress when you were 13. What does 13-year-old Liam look like, do you think?
Probably like really rustic clothes. We were kind of traveller family, although not. We stayed in the same place, but lived off of the land. Didn't really take part in society, modern society.
Yeah.
Kind of a throwback. So home darned clothes and made homemade clothes and
You're wearing
stuff.
this slightly oversized knitted jumper.
Yeah,
Um,
that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Leather, and leathers maybe from stuff we've hunted.
yeah,
Like really going back to tribal.
yeah. There's an almost a tribal aspect to a lot of the items that Liam is wearing. Um, do you think that Liam's a tall person? Do you think that he was one of those kids that suddenly shot up in size at 13, or was he still quite
He's
young?
tall. He's quite tall now.
Mm,
Um, I would say he was probably always tall for his age. He wasn't somebody who shot up. Miss something. He was always a
he
tall
just
child.
he was just always beanpole, tall,
Always the
lanky.
game son. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
so you're I'd say Liam is probably on the floor at the moment where he'd just broken down
yeah.
crying. Um
He'll
you're
he'll be crying for a while,
mm,
and until it's sobbing until it naturally runs its course, and
Raditz of
until you kind of cry yourself out and
yeah,
have no energy left, because he's still in his current age state and he knows what's happened. He knows he's transformed into this horrible hybrid vampiric
yeah,
werewolf creature that is unholy and unclean, and some
yeah,
horrible transgression of the true wolf that he's desperate to get back. So he's absolutely distraught, and
yeah,
he'll cry himself out basically. But once he stops,
yeah.
he'll become more aware of the surroundings and mem- remember briefly touching on that wolf
Yeah.
outside being in there. Um, would he recoil now if he, as adult Liam, knowing that or thinking that that is the true, like the being controlled beast form? If he was, if he, if that wolfy apparition thing is kind of a um spectral version of what the wolf would be like if he changed now as an adult, as a proper controlled werewolf, as a instead of a
Okay.
horrible
Yeah.
hybrid. Yeah.
Site check. Yeah. I think I've got an idea in my head about
Okay, times that inside. Oh, good skill again. Oh no,
that
no,
one.
it's a fumble.
Oh
It's a
no.
fumble. He won it.
You
He won it.
you
It's a fumble.
you look towards this creature and it is you meet its eyes again, and as you do, this weird feeling of clicking between you both, the rage of this monster, um you catch
Bastard won.
the rage being directed at you, uh at the young boy Liam, rather than this owl woman who's still watching you from the
Yeah.
tree. And um and as you flick back to you, the fear, that your heartbeat is up again. You quite can't quite figure out this thing. Um,
Mm.
and uh, yeah, I think as you flicked to this rage and then this fear, and neither emotion for you is particularly comfortable, you suddenly flick into a third. There is something deeper in the woods, but it is stuck fast to a tree. yellow lines are binding it, and its form is like mist rolling from it, black smoke, you know, dissipating from it. This comes with a completely separate and just as vicious an emotion. This is hunger. And this, as you realize, as Liam flicks back into Liam's body, he turns round suddenly, looking further into the forest the other way, seeing this bound figure up against a tree. And this is what you see on the other side. Please just send.
You know, it wants to add an
It,
emoji so that every
yeah, I
time
don't want to add an
it's very
emoji.
helpful. Oh God,
Has that actually gone through? Let's say,
yeah.
there we go. So this is covered by yellow lines and is holding it fast. And you hear a
What
soft
the hell is that?
voice coming from the woman
I
watching
think
you.
wholesome, isn't it?
Um,
Hmm.
and you hear her say, "Poor tenured child."
Or tenured child.
Poor tenured child. So tenured is a word that you would have heard, obviously. Liam has not heard this word before now, but yeah. Tenured, Tynged.
All right. What's it mean?
Do you think Liam would know what it means?
If
If
he's
you
heard
want
it
to.
before,
Think there is a potential that he could have heard that word before.
I'll
So
roll an insight check.
no, do a history check for me, not insight,
History check.
history.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll find history or history. There we go.
No, I keep going across to this computer thinking it's
10.
10. Yeah, I don't think he's. I think he's heard it before, but he just doesn't. He can't remember what it is.
Right. Okay.
But the woman's right there, and she's still up in this tree.
Yeah.
She's still watching you. Her expression has
Um.
somewhat changed.
He will. So he's thinking obviously isn't a dream per se because their woman that speaks to it still could still be a dream, but there's something he thinks there's something more going on here. He's in this um forest and stuff. There's something deeper going on. So he will address the woman and what do you mean?
You are Pinged. You are cursed. You have seen and experienced a great deal. Someone so young. How
I'm
did
not this
you?
young, love.
She
This I'm not 13. Oh, uh,
uh
how old is it?
sh-
It's 20.
she she laughs. And suddenly you feel as you've said that that last notes of what you said have changed again to a much deeper voice. You look down again at your hands, much older, back to regular sized
Right,
Liam.
age Liam, which is only 26.
Um, and she kind of
But she'll still say young.
chuckles. Yeah, and she chuckles and she says, "You are still young, comparatively."
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, you say
Um,
young.
she sort of her head turns in that owl-like way, looking at both the bound creature further into the forest and the wolf
Are you in my
stalking.
mind?
Yes, I thought this was the best way to
Are these are
stop
these
you.
like the curses? The wolf and the vampire. The wolf isn't a curse.
He seems
The
quite
wolf's a
surprised at the
blessing.
word vampire, and she like stares intently towards this other bound creature, and she goes, "Is that what it is?" And
I don't know. It
she
doesn't look like a. It kind of could be a vampire because of the teeth and stuff, but it's not like any vampire I've seen.
maybe a persuasion check a second.
Oh, good. It's only plus 0. Yeah, still could roll high.
I mean, she's got quite high insight, so let me just roll.
Ooh, I got a. It's a 20.
It's a nat 20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't realise
perfect.
in the D&D Beyond you get a bee come up and it's all glows all blue and flashes and
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's
screams
cool.
at
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
She comes down from the tree and she is like stands up on the tree. You can see she had been crouching, sort of like one hand on the trunk of the tree, the other hand sort of like just resting on the branch that she was on. And where her arms are also her wings, um, as she stands up, the wings had sort of been covering where her knees had been quite high up. She'd been crouching down, and she's a tall lady. She hops down and glides down from the tree to come within about sort of 10 foot of you. She doesn't close the distance, trying to give you space, basically, rather
Yeah.
than, yeah. But you realize that she had been afraid of you, and she was actually up in the tree to be away from you. But during what you'd said and how you'd said it and just your general demeanor, she's figuring you out. Um, and she's now realized that you're not really you're not a threat. The threat is these two things attached to you. Um, and she stands in front of you. Um, and she kind of gives you another look over, and she says, I had thought that you were sent to attack after the blast. I had not expected anybody, though I had seen the coming of someone. I believe you. You were meant to come here. You and your friends.
What blast is that then?
She sighs. It seems that someone has destroyed the avatar, the circle spirit to this realm. From the mundane realm side, there is a being known as the Stranger. You must have met
Oi,
them.
oi, we spoke to him to get here.
Yes. He
He's been
was.
destroyed.
Yes, I have seen this now. Only that could have caused such a disastrous consequence in this realm.
Oh well, we're screwed. We're stuck here then, aren't we?
Not necessarily. She finds your uh what's the word?
Pragmatism.
Yep, if you want to name it pragmatism, yeah. She finds your lack of positivity funny in this moment, and uh and she seems very careful with her words. She's very softly spoken, um but every word is weighed. It's
Mm.
important before she says it. And she says, I believe you were sent to us. Perhaps this is a sign that my lady still yet lives. You are. What year is it in the mundane realm?
Is it modern times? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I believe we set it
2022.
2022. Yeah, so we can set it at 2022. That's fine. Her eyebrows raise, and she says, "Hmm, I should have known such a time has passed since the last adventurers had forayed into Caer Sidi. Time passes differently here, you see.
Boy, we heard much faster or slower,
Slower.
depending on your which side of the realm you're on.
Yeah, it is to do with Our Lady's wishes before she left us.
Who's your lady? You keep on looking up at the moon.
Arian Rude, um, you came here not knowing whose realm this was?
I don't pay much attention to stuff like that.
Well, Arian Rude, the goddess, was alive a long, long time ago. Much longer, I think, even for your time, for mortals. She is the daughter of Don and my great grandmother. Make me a religion check on some of those. I think if you get a 17 on
16.
16, oh balls! I feel bad now. I feel bad. I think I think the name Don really rings a bell for you though. Kind of there's something about it that rings like a memory. And actually, as you're trying to remember, this scene around you starts to change a little. You're still in the woods where your family had lived and you had grown up, but just a different portion of it, slightly less densely packed with trees. There are a couple of caravans parked and had long since uh, been settled in their place. Um, there's also a lodge here that had been built. Uh, you remember it was almost like the schoolroom where they had classes or a place just to teach the children that had grown up in the settlement. And um, as your memory is just short of remembering exactly what it is, you're in this place again, and there's something about being here that relates to Don. You remember the word
Maybe
Don.
in a religious lesson
Yeah.
or in church or something.
E- In fact, exactly that. You remember it being said, but you just can't remember anything about it. And as you remember, it was a religious lesson. There's a woman standing there. She's paying no mind to you, but a face you vaguely remember. An older woman, and she's in this sort of like knitted cardigan, kind of all wrapped up. She has a lot of necklaces on, a lot of different symbols on them. There's even a cross, but there's a lot of other sort of religious symbols on this necklace. And she seems to be talking, and it's dulled to you. You can't really make out what she's saying,
Yeah.
and she seems to be teaching this class of invisible children before her. Um, and that's all that kind of shapes this area. You realize that you're in your own head. You're in your
Yeah.
memories. And Morwid, although you don't know her name yet, the woman who is with you is watching with interest, just as unknowing as you about what's happening around. Um, I'd say less so because you actually know what's happening. She's just a bystander. She's just watching this scene unfold, and she looks to you and she goes, "Is this where you grew up?
Oi, oi, it is, lass.
You
That's me old school.
the
That's me old
world's
teacher.
hmm, the world seems much changed since I stepped foot in the mundane realm.
I
I
dare say it is. It has. It was probably thousands of years ago, our time.
Yes, indeed, it has been. Though some adventurers have come and I have gleaned information from their minds, it is hard to keep up with such rapid change and such strange creatures that now populate it. And she looks again, because you're inside this lodge, this schoolroom, you see out the window again. On one side is this stalking wolf, on the other, this bound creature further off. Um, and you see her sort of make a sort of just a wave of her hand, and there's more ropes, these golden threads wrapping this thing around it, as if she's just making doubly sure that it's not going to be released. She says, "So you are far removed, perhaps even in knowledge of your own people, where you came from."
Oi, oi. Well, I was only just older than a lad when they were all wiped out by our enemies.
The
So
vampires.
I didn't really. I've only learned a little bit. I was just about to learn the change. Just of the age to learn the change. And my family were werewolves, obviously.
Yes, the
But
werewolves. This word is unlike the words we used to use.
I'm sure you have another name for them. They've been around for years.
Phelan.
Who?
Phelan. And I shall put that in your thingy.
Cool.
And hope that I spelt it right. That is the words that I have heard that has explained the change of people of certain lands. Different names for your kind in different places. The Phalad or the Wolver. There are many names. If werewolf is more comfortable for you, I will use this word. Do you remember, were you taught where werewolves came from?
Was
And
I?
I think so. The law that Liam knows, as far as
He
he's
would have been
concerned,
taught some law, wouldn't he?
yeah,
Because it was 16, 17 when it happened. So he'd have been. They would have. I would have thought the family would
mm,
make sure that
that
the
people would
law was
know the
handed down. But by the
things have
same
been
token, there'd
lost.
probably be a lot
Hmm.
that wouldn't be divulged until you were of age.
Yeah,
There'd be a lot that would be divulged once you'd become a full. werewolf and matured, and then they'd sit you down and give you more like detailed info. So it's up to you
Mm.
what he would know and what he
So
wouldn't.
it's about whether or not Liam thinks his knowledge of it is complete. And I think probably
Definitely not. Definitely
he
not.
knows that it's not
He
complete.
knows it's not complete. He
Yeah,
knows that there was more coming, and there's more as you get older and
yeah,
reach certain ranks or privileges, and
yeah,
then even then within the adults, there's the more senior people of the tribe who know more,
yeah.
and it's a
Liam was taught once he'd sort of been aware of this obviously the wolf and what happens when you turn a certain age basically. For
yeah
Liam it was like almost um like uh, perfectly on the dot on his 13th birthday. It's although the leaders of the clans and things like that would often put like a block if it's just a little bit too early. They could often put a stop to it until they're ready. For Liam, I think that it was like on the dot on the 30th birthday. It was set to come. That there was the signs were all there, and you then had this uh, experience of turning for the
yeah
first time. Now, she said, "Do you know your origins?" Liam was told a lot about clan wars, and that happened, you know, hundreds, maybe even thousands of years ago. Things passed orally, never written down. Really, you wouldn't find werewolf lore written down unless it was by an outsider who had somehow got
past
hold of
some
that knowledge and written it down. Werewolves tend to, or at least the werewolves of Ireland, because obviously there is certain other species of werewolves in like Europe and well Africa. There's the Asian ones, and they've all got like a different um, abilities to them, different powers and things like that. Some are not considered um, to be living. Some aren't considered to be um, solid. They're like just spirits. Like, and you know just enough to know there's differences between each lot. But I know, but Liam knows that his knowledge of where werewolves come from originally, it you don't know that at all.
no
Um, so she says, "My my mother taught me when I was young, which was some time ago, that amongst the lands of, hmm, you call it England now, or Scotland, Wales, Ireland, these names, newer names, amongst the first people here, there were mortals, some of the first mortals, those who had kin to spirits, and there were some like yourself, their spirits that of wolven people. They could change, they could project, and they were animalistic, but not like this. And she looks out towards this wolf spirit of yours that is prowling still. This has happened since that time. Something has changed what your people were. I believe it is a curse, but from where I do not know. Your people were once the people of Arian Rude. She was goddess over those creatures of wolf and owl. She is the goddess of the moon, of wisdom. We do not know if she is still alive. She left us many, many, many years ago. I have never met her, and she was set to return to us, and she never did. I believe what happened to her has maybe some connection to what has happened to your people, to make them so filled with rage. And again, this flicker of anger and rage sort of fills you. You don't even flicker into the wolf form anymore. You're just feeling it within yourself. You get you get the feel that you're starting to come together again. And she says, "The moon caused you to turn, didn't it?"
Oh, it does. We can normally control it before. It's something to do with this being bitten by the damn vampires. We're taught to control it, and we can change whenever we want. But it's harder to resist during the moon cycle for sure. But when we lose control, the moon can force us to change.
It never used to be like this. I believe you have. I believe it is fated that you are here. That you should find yourself in the realm of Our Lady, who helped make you. I have a request, if you would help
Oh, I.
me. This realm has been diminished in power because of the blast. There is many aspects of it which are now broken or dispelled, and we need to return them to the correct state, or chaos may follow. There is an object on a shrine to Our Lady, but it is protected by a spirit, and I am not a fighter. My attendants are not strong enough, and I believe you could be. I believe you could be strong enough to help us. Keep me safe whilst I perform a small rite over this shrine to restore the blood ward over the moon. It would stop its effects on you for a start. You would be able to return to yourself. Additionally, it would stop the Tinged one, the old boar, which I believe your friends are soon to meet with. And the great mage, the dark mage, can draw power from the uncovered moon. Originally, this was done by Our Lady, and each generation of her children, so her child and my mother and now me. We maintain this ward to stop ruin happening, to protect Caer Sidi for the eventual return of Iron Rude. We don't know if she will ever return, but I cannot lose hope that one day she will.
Do you know where she went, or just that she went away?
Morwood turns, and as she does, the image of the lodge disappears. The forest surrounding you kind of disappears, and you are in you're in a forested area again. So anywhere you're going to go in ancient lands is going to be forested, I think. And you can see there is a hill or hillock, I should say, with stone steps hobbled going upwards towards a shrine. And Morweird stands next to you, viewing this, as if showing you what it is. And you see atop this hill there is a woman, um, glowing in silver radiance. She is beautiful. She has long silver hair that falls past her waist. She's in this gown of um, blues and greens, but highlighted with silver jewelry, and her face is flawless. Um, she is casting some kind of magic over the altar at the top. Um, you see a large silver disc that is sort of on this altar, standing upright, with a hole in the middle, and around the outside is like old runes. Um, you don't really recognize, but it's obviously a powerful artifact. And as she's casting this spell, she's drawing blood from her hands and sort of smearing it over the item. And in the center is this this like hanging in the hole in the center is like a large gem on a chain, um with what looks like possibly gold, um spikes coming from it, not spikes coming from it, but it's set into a spiked shape, um
Right.
in the center of this, or it looks like a star. And she's completing this ritual, um in a language you just fully don't understand. Her voice is coming in this ethereal um sounds, and she completes this, and you see the moon up again, perpetually full, above you, glides this red um warding, just kind of slides across, and the whole realm around you, the forest, becomes just dark. Um, if you know anything about color theory, when you add red to green, it becomes darker. So obviously, green woods, red light, everything's just dark as hell here. Um, and she takes the gem from in the center, pulls, there's like a necklace, and the gem is hanging there, and then slips this like blue silk um hooded robe over her, and starts descending the steps. She has no awareness of you. This is a
Yeah.
projected
This is.
yeah,
Yeah.
memory
Yeah.
almost. And as she walks down and past you, she seems to be heading southward. Like your sense of direction is particularly
Yeah.
perfect because of what you do, and she's heading towards well, the only thing that you know in this realm is to the south is the dolmen where you came through, the
Yeah.
exit and entrance to this world.
Yeah.
Um, and as she's walking, you're kind of you're not moving, but you're like keeping up with her
Yeah.
cinematically. You're just kind of
Yeah.
watching her walk briskly through this woods. Everywhere she treads is a even surface. The It's like the forest is moving to her whim. Um, though she looks scared almost. She looks frightened that something is coming. She keeps looking over her shoulder. Um, there is much, much further away, like miles probably, but just the sound of it is so loud you hear it, and so does she. There is a roar of anger from somewhere to the what would that be? The east. Um, and she picks up the steps. Uh, at some point, there is people accompanying her. Um, there is elves in woad and carrying bows and arrows, and they fall in step behind her, and they're sort of going with her. There are a couple of people here. There's all in all, there gathers about 7, 8 people following her. One of them looks. You think maybe they might be Fae. Their looks aren't quite elven or human. Uh, there's like wolf features on them. They've got like fur down there from like mutton chops, but like carrying on as they're sort of like bare chested. It just turns into fur over their body, and their ears are long and then fur covered as well. There is a person there that looks like they've got, instead of hair, it's feathers, but they seem like fully humanoid, other than this feathered hair around them. And as they walk, they find themselves very quickly, almost as if they'd stepped through trees and come out much further away to this clearing where the dolmen is. And to you, when you had stepped through it with the party before, the dolmen looked quite weathered. Um, this looks quite new,
Right.
as if it had just moved here. Less crags, less marks from weathering. It's quite smooth, and the runes on it are like still quite sharp, and it is glowing with magic as she approaches it and sort of like dumping a load of magic into it to make this ritual circle open. Not the ritual circle, the teleportation circle to open. Um, you speak Sylvan, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So there is like an older version of Sylvan, but you can understand most of it. That the attendants of what you can assume is Arian Rude right now, um, talking amongst themselves quietly about having to leave Arian Rude's daughter in charge, and would she be okay? Um, One of them mentions that Arian Rude has taken the North Star, so you can make a note of that.
Guess that's the thing on a
The
chain.
item, yeah. And one of them mentions that Gwydian's form would not break even though Arian Rude is leaving. Um, there is a mention of the Blood Ward, about diminishing the power of Gwydion, so he can't break out of this form. And um, and then uh, and then basically she goes through the ritual circle. She disappears. She hasn't actually said anything to anybody. They just intuitively know what's happening, and some of them go with her, and then 2 people remain and stand as guards. And then this image kind of fades, and you're back in a sort of like
Those two that stay as the guards, the two I see later as the two.
mm,
Are they the two that
these are
no?
2 people that you've never met before. They're just
Won't
e-
meet
yeah,
later.
yeah. This could be people that you meet later potentially.
Not the ones, the two that are helping her now in the future.
Oh no, yeah, no. You don't see
Not that.
Gwyn or who will
Yeah,
yeah,
that's who I meant. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not them. Okay. Cool.
So as you look back to this owl woman, who's obviously
Yeah,
telling you all of this stuff, she looks different in this vision. Like there's a layer over her of a different figure, and it's another owl woman, but looks just different, if that makes sense.
her mother, or her grandmother,
Possibly,
because
yeah. Very.
we know that. Yeah,
She never saw a
Shh,
Iron Brood, so this isn't her memory. This
yeah,
is a
yeah,
memory
yeah,
of probably her grandmother or her
and
mother.
yeah,
So, who has watched Iron Brood leave this realm, fleeing it,
yeah,
um, and that is the last thing they see of Iron Brood. She takes the North
yeah.
Star and she leaves. Um, the image kind of fades. Morwood looks to you and says, "That was well before my time."
What was she fleeing?
Her brother, Gwydion,
Ah,
he,
Gwydion's her brother.
mm, she had cursed him, placed a ting on him, put him in the form of the
England.
boar, and he.
I like that word.
You shouldn't like that word. It is not a good word.
It's better than cursed.
Mm, I suppose it sounds good for those who don't understand its meaning or its history, I think. You
I
are.
like it.
It is unusual to meet someone who is cursed more than once.
I
This.
know. I know this shouldn't happen. I should be dead now.
It is unusual.
A vampire bite for a werewolf is fatal. We're taught that as a child.
And yet you are not dead. Well,
I know.
it
Well,
is. Yeah.
I'm
She
certainly not
she
alive. I don't
she
know what
seems to
else I would
kind of
be.
like think about it for a second, and she states, "It seems you are not yet done with this world, and I don't know why. If you were to help me to restore the Blood Ward, I could I could perform a spell would be a rough way of putting it. It is a way to read your blood." Oh, hang on a second. I've just got somebody at the door. Stay there a second.
So, people, this is what happens with live streaming.
Bloody BT people turning up at my door. I apologise about that. Maybe I can cut that out later or leave it in. I don't care.
I did make a small comment.
Did you? Now I'm gonna watch this back and be like, oh no.
No,
Um.
it was fine.
So she where did I get to? So she's offering to do
She
this
will wish
spell.
to perform a spell, for lack of
Um,
a better word.
it is a way
To
to
read.
read your blood, to discover, like a doctor looks at a patient, but spiritually. I could look and see what has occurred, what has happened to your soul to make it so vulnerable to curses, if that is something that you want. And she waits to see if you all accept this.
I certainly want to get rid of the vampire curse. I don't see the werewolf being a curse, but you said you said it is compared to my ancestors.
I
I like
don't.
the rage.
He looks at you quite curiously, as if that's a surprising comment to make. Um, she goes, naturally, those who have grown accustomed to certain ways of living often find it easier to keep this. It is up to you. I can show
I'll
you the
certainly like you to have a look, and then we'll see where we go from there.
yes, I can show you the truth of things. Though I can't fix them for you. But hopefully with this knowledge it would lead you on a path for you to fix this for yourself.
I'll give it a go, but I bet it won't work.
He laughs again. Uh, You're a very curious person, Liam O'Brien. You haven't told her your name.
No, but I'm not surprised when
She's
the
in your
fact
head.
that it's
Yeah,
in my head.
yeah, literally.
Hang on, how do you know that? Oh, wait a minute, you're actually in my brain. Yeah.
she she looks at you expectantly and she says, "So, would you help me with this?"
Yeah, I'll do it.
Thank you. I believe that many things may happen quite quickly. If my reading is correct and your friends have chosen the boar, then you will need to act quickly afterwards to rejoin them. But after Gwydion is made the Circle Guardian of this realm, I will have time to perform this blood reading for you. Would that be acceptable?
I don't see why not.
At the moment, you are.
You can't do it before.
No.
Can't do it before the ritual with Gwydion.
I would have little time, and it would require certain amount of power that I will need for what is coming next. But I do make you an oath that I will do this in return for your help and my success in restoring the blood ward.
Oi, let's call it.
She puts out a hand, and it's taloned, but it doesn't look like menacing. Um,
Yeah.
it's actually just about shake your hand on the subject.
Oh, shh.
It's
Shake
surprisingly
her hand.
soft. Like her hands, it's got these little feathers over them. Like there's the grip is like a bird's talon, but it's not just scaled. There's like small, tiny, soft feathers over the back of it, and she gently shakes your hand.
If this is my mind, my dream, can I make my hand a wolf paw?
Make me a I think a wisdom check, just straight wisdom. It's gonna be quite a high
Wisdom,
DC, not saving throw, just a wisdom check because this is you
wisdom check,
forcing
yeah.
to do it. Yeah. It's gonna
14.
be quite high, but it's what was that?
14.
14. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think she sees that you're trying to affect this dream. You try to change it. Your hand goes from being old to young again, and then back to old. So, and that seems to be the limit of your ability to
That's quite funny.
change. It's quite good. It's like old, young, old, young, old, young. And she sort of she says, there is only so much you can do to affect yourself whilst in this state. We are in an area between minds. I have projected us here. You are currently running through Caer Sidi. Um, you get a sudden feeling as she draws your consciousness to your own body, and you're still running. This is all
Oh,
happening
Carlo.
whilst you're like in full feral form. You're running through and just attacking anything that comes in sight. Um, and then you're back again to this vision of you, and she says, "I can affect your I can place temporarily a a way for you to control your actions in the real world from here, so that you are not interfered by your companions." And she is referring to these two curses.
Yeah.
Um, this other one, like, she seems to have let the wolf part, like, it doesn't seem to want to approach you guys. Though it is furious, it's just filled with rage. Uh, that is something that Liam does know from the lore that is taught about your people. Um, the rage is the thing that makes you turn at the full moon. When you see the full moon, you are filled with rage, and that is what causes you to turn. And whenever you're in this form, you are uncontrollably angry, and that's what makes you the beast. What she has suggested is potentially that in itself is a curse. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
And before that, whatever it is that made that happen, you are descended from people that could freely turn and have all the abilities, but without the rage and complete control over it. So, um, what she's suggesting now is that what she can do is keep you in control of you, project, kind of like a simulation within this mind realm, um, and your outside body would respond to it almost like uh, when you're in a VR headset and you're controlling an avatar, kind of like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you can fight what is happening outside this spirit that you'll be facing, with all the strength of this bestial side of you, the 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 part that's not Liam at all, the part that
Yeah.
is the fight between the wolf and the vampire part of you, um this unholy creature that has been made, which is immensely strong but completely uncontrollable. She is offering you a chance to be able to have some form of control over it, to be able to allow her to do that right whilst you
Yeah.
take care of this spirit beast. um and did Liam's agreed to this, hasn't he?
Yes,
He's
yes,
just-
yes.
So she starts to manipulate your mind. You're now getting flickers of what's happening on the outside. Again, you've got this Maybe an insight check. Actually, there is something on this outside perspective that
12.
12. I'm going to let you do it with advantage because it's you, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah. Oh, 21.
Ali, you remember this as you flicked into your corporeal body. That obviously you're running, your talons have ripped through stuff. You've encountered a lot of trees and brook stream and things like that, but then you suddenly remember you had blood in your mouth at some point, and you're thinking, where could that have come from? And as you think it, the uh, it's like just knowing it is showing you the truth of things, and you see that this owl woman, Morwood, has a wound on her arm that you couldn't see before, but now you realize what's happened. On the outside, she's injured, and you think you may have done it. It's not like a mortal wound, but it is like you've encountered her in the woods, and this is how she's come to know that you're here.
Dealt with me by getting into my mind.
Yeah, because she doesn't look like a fighter.
No.
So she can't, and I think she was just curious about this new creature that is in this realm. And then found that actually you're a person underneath this beast. She starts to connect up parts of you. You start to feel that although and you can describe what you start to look like now. As she's connecting you with your body, you can look just like you are in this realm, in the real realm, Caer Sidi. But your spirit is essentially taking on form of as if you were slipping on the gloves to take control. And you're changing and starting to have more uh, effect over what's happening to yourself out in the real world. Do you think it's anything different to what he looks like outside of the dream?
No,
No.
I don't
I
think so.
I think I'll put up a picture then of what you look like, just so that the audience can see what Liam looks like in this. I know that in uh our last episode we'd it's a new computer. I don't have the picture. God damn it. And I can't draw it from Roll20, but I will get hold of that, and I'll show it in the next one because obviously we're going to continue on in the next session from where everything's going. The world around you starts to change, and there's like an overlapping of what you can see through your eyes as the beast part of Liam, in the real world versus this mind realm, and you could see them sort of starting to match up to each other. And you're perfectly able to then to control this thing, and you can see that you are in this area of the woods that is not the magical woods. You've long passed that now. You seem to be running for a while. The moon is almost gone, but it's still dark. But it is still that silver moon. Um, but it's not yet dipped behind the horizon. And Morwood says, "I will guide you to where we need to go, and um, we can confront this spirit whilst you are keeping it from hurting me. I will perform the ritual. I will not be able to stop. Please do not let it kill me." Um, she guides you towards place in the distance, you can see this hill where in the memory you just saw of Iron Rude conducting this ritual, exactly the same thing. You're heading towards it
Oh,
now. And um as you approach
and
the
that's where the spell needs to be cast because
yeah,
that's for the moon. Yeah.
exactly. So she has um guided you here in your mind towards this place. Um you are still full pelt running towards it. Um, you're aware in the real world that Morwid is flying above the trees alongside you. So she is gliding along, keeping pace with you, but never touching the ground. You can see this wound on her arm. It's sort of like blood dripping down her feathers. And he's, he's you guys start to approach this hill. As you start to getting to the base of this hill, the trees here, as you saw in the memory, are taller, less branchy, silver birches that are sort of populated. They're a little bit more sparse, not trees that you can climb up easily or hide behind. They seem to be surrounding this hill, and you approach and you can see this uh silvery mist layering the forest floor. And as you starting to run into it, it's swirling and moving and starts to form itself ahead of you um, into this kind of misty looking giant beast. And it is like hunched with giant arms ending in claws. The arms are so long they're actually dragging on the ground. Its legs look quite powerful but short. Doesn't look like anything you've ever seen before. It can't really be. The only thing that I could describe it to Ken is something similar to like an ogre or something. Um, but Liam's never seen anything like this before.
With with very short legs.
But yeah, it's got like quite short legs. I don't have a picture of it because there is no pictures that I could find,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to draw it. So uh, it senses you coming, and it's so tall that it's if it was to swing out, it could hit um it could hit Morwood. So the idea is for you to keep it busy while she gets to the top, performs this rite. So
Yeah.
I want you to roll initiative for me, and
Yeah.
I will be doing the attacks for it on Tom's computer, so it doesn't mess up my thingy.
10.
10 Gundabar. This guy is going to be also. Oh no, wait! I've got to add. He rolled a 10, but the Sorry, I need to actually pull up the monster stats. Oh, oh. I hate Tom's computer. It's so small. Everything's spaced together. Okie dokie. So, it becomes a 9. So you get to go first. Because its
Okay.
dex is much slower.
I'm gonna leap on it and try and sink my fangs into it then.
Yeah. You your first round, you jump at this creature. You were a little for while away, but like I described, you have just been running flat out. And you run
I'm
straight towards it.
still in wolf form, in hybrid form, aren't
Yes, you're in hybrid form.
I? Yeah.
I was going to make you, because this form the one that is usually very uncontrolled to you is much stronger than you are now. We'll keep your stats as they are at the moment, but err on the
Okay.
side of well, no, because actually I could just adjust this creature to compensate for that. Actually, I think so. You just roll as normal, but you feel immensely stronger than usual. Um,
Okay.
you feel like all of these, although maybe your damage is, the set rate, you feel like you're doing a lot more, and you are in fact doing a lot more damage. You leap at this creature and meet it, and you are compared to the size of it, about a fourth of its size. And you just leap straight at its face and just sink your fangs in and start ripping at it. Can you roll me your damage, please? And d-
Don't want an attack roll.
um, was didn't you already roll the attack roll? Did we do that?
No, I
That
just
no, that was
rolled
initiative.
initiative.
Sorry, yeah. Roll me an attack roll. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
16.
16. Yeah, you hit. You just hit. It's this thing has a hide. It's so tough.
9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. Okay, brilliant. Um, do you just have one attack, or
I don't know. My character has 2 attacks, but I don't know
yeah,
in hybrid form. I don't know whether the
two
two
attacks?
attacks would carry
Yeah, yeah.
over.
You absolutely still have two attacks.
Yeah, 19 plus, so that's a 26 hit,
26.
and that
Yeah, that's
is
fine.
6 points of damage.
6 points of damage. 15. Okay. Yeah, you rip a chunk out of this thing. Mist comes away in your mouth. There is a substantial feeling to it. There's the sensation of you ripping at this spirit, kind of still comes away in your mouth, and it's like this weird sensation of you almost cutting into a cloud, but it's tough, and it just this drifting white mist pours away from it, as if it was reading. It roars, and the roar is like it's like you hear it in your soul rather than through your ears. It like rattles you,
Yeah.
um, and it just kind of reverberates, makes every fur hair stand on end, um, as it kind of roars at you, and then it's going to attack twice. It grabs at you. See if it actually hits. Be a good idea. It's gonna do it twice. Oh, it's not rolling amazing. Does a 16 hit you?
No.
No. Oh gosh, the other one doesn't hit you either. Then, um, it kind of it grabs you and tries to pull you off, and you're just like latched on. Um, uh, it yeah, it goes to like beat you, and you're just steadfast. It hits you, but you kind of you move in such a way it takes the brunt of the force. That's actually all it can do at the moment. Yeah. Um, roll another attack. Short turn. This needs to go on for 10 rounds. To be able to, you either kill it
Okay.
before then, or you need to keep it busy for 10 rounds whilst
That's a
she's
fumble.
doing her things. Oh no! So is that first attack a fumble?
Yeah.
Okay, second attack.
9. Not much better.
Oh no! You are keeping it busy. Actually, I'm gonna make a wisdom save. This thing, which is not great to be honest, but I'm gonna just yeah. God, it's rolling garbage. It's still busy with you. The fight's not going well for either of you, but it just you're the main target at the moment,
Yeah.
and it's going to try and rip you off it again. Hit you. What have I done? Stop. Go away. Um, attack you. First hit. Jesus. Okay. This is insane. Neither of those hit. You're just fighting. You're just wrestling essentially at this point. It. What it does is it starts to. It turns and with you on it, starts to walk up the hill.
Okay.
Towards Morwood. Doesn't quite get there in one round. But she's already up there because she flew up there. There is like the mist around it starts to swirl. There is something else that can happen, but on its next go. So you can make your attacks now for this third
Have I
round.
got any? So as I'm in control of the hybrid form, have I got
Hmm.
any ranger abilities?
Yep, you absolutely
Like,
do.
so I can, as a bonus action, I could drop a Slayer's Prey on it.
Yep, yeah, that is the
'Cause
benefit of what this is doing.
I wouldn't cast a spell in that form, but I could.
This
Slayer's Prey is
is
an
an
innate
innate
ability.
ability. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll do that first, and then I'll try and fumble again. 16.
16 to hit.
That's a hit, in it.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
that hits.
6 plus 6. First attack. Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh, where am I? Oh, okay. I didn't actually roll it. 6 plus 2 is 8 for the first attack.
First attack,
The
yep.
second attack is a 20 something, 25
Yep, that hits.
for 11.
11. Ooh, chunk. Your Slayer's Prey, did you add that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just ripping more and more pieces of its being from it. It sort of instead of trying to attack you on this round, it's going to try another roar. But this time, this swirling mist around starts to like come up sort of higher to sort of like almost cover all of you. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw. Wisdom
Yes.
saving throw is 6.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks
I
very
do
much.
get bonus 1d6 to it because it's forced me to roll
Okay, yeah.
because of my difficulty points. It's probably not going to be enough to make it any a decent roll, but
Potentially, but yeah, just
10.
10 total or 10 added?
Yeah,
Oh no, it'd be 10 total,
10.
wouldn't it? Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
only
it
d6.
affects you.
So,
So
yeah. Okay.
let me just get the rules up for what that is. Hang on. Annoying. This oh no, that's not it. What am I doing? Okay. This mist rolls up, and because you're holding on to a creature made of mist, um, uh, it's you can only do that for its round, so that's all it could do at the moment. But essentially, you become blinded. Everything
Okay.
around you is mist. You can't, apart from the fact that you're holding on, is it can't seem to uh throw you off. If it when and if it does throw you off, you won't be able to see it. Basically, it becomes like
Yeah.
invisible in the mist. Um, so you get to go again. This is round 4.
So hit 23.
Yep. Oh, sorry.
For
Sorry, apologies. Oh no, you're on it. So I'd say it's just straight roll at the moment.
11. The
11
first
points.
attack.
Yep.
Yeah, 11 points of damage.
Yep.
And the second attack is a 24.
24.
For 9 points of damage.
Bloody hell. Okay. Yeah. This thing is like seems to try and thrash to throw you off. Its attacks against you have advantage now because of
Yeah.
your blindness condition. So it it goes to pull you off. I think what I'm trying to do is attack you to pull you off, where really it should be a strength saving throw. But moment, yeah, perfect. That's a 19. Does that hit you?
Yeah.
Yep. And the second attack is a 19 again. So two 19s. It first one grabs and rips you from it. And then kind of slams you into the ground. And that does. Oh, balls. That's the wrong button. That does 14 points of damage. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. For as it threw you on the ground, and then its other hand sort of comes down and just smacks you.
Yeah.
For 15 points of damage. This is all bludgeoning, but magically bludgeoning.
Yeah.
So so it sort of smacks you around. The you can now make another wisdom saving throw to see if you can try and perceive it after each time you take damage. So
Right. 23.
yeah, yeah. You immediately like don't want to be hit like that again. You catch the movement of it in the mist. Although it's like indistinguishable in color, the shape of it moves and makes the mist surrounding it swirl in a way that it almost outlines it if you're looking really carefully. So you are no longer blinded for the purposes. It's still very misty around. You've lost sight of this hill. You know you're on it, but it's like
Yeah.
it's really difficult to see. It is now your go. You may
I'm
make
gonna
your attacks with
I'm
like
gonna
straight.
normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump on it again.
Okay. Yep. Go. For it.
I'm also going to, I don't know whether it will make any difference, but as it's been doing, I will roar at it to try to make it attack me to try and
Keep it.
um
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I'd say if you're staying where you are, it's kind of in combat with you anyway. If you're gonna, I'll let you do that roar as a bonus action rather than taking up any of your attacks. And I'll say he'll have to do a wisdom saving throw to just stay where he is because in another round, you know he'll likely meet up with
yeah,
Morwood. So if you could just make me a straight intimidation or persuasion, it's up to you.
intimidation. They're the
Yeah,
same.
you can
Really.
use your strength instead of charisma for intimidation.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, that's an optional
So that's
rule
a
that I have.
21 total.
Yeah.
That's a
Um,
21 total then.
it'll be versus his wisdom saving throw, which isn't great to be fair. So, uh, let's see. What was it? 21. There's no way he can meet
21,
that.
I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
it's,
forgotten
he
already.
literally can't meet that. His highest will be 18. So even with a nat, I suppose he could roll and get, if he gets a nat 20, maybe we could have another rolls off, just because 20s. Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So he's now like focused on you. You get the feeling that he's not planning to go any further up this hill. And he's going to make 2 attacks at you, just straight
Have
this
I got
time.
my attack still though?
Oh, sorry,
You said
apologies.
I
You,
could do that
yeah,
bonus
yeah,
action
yeah.
because I have rolled them 2 hits, assuming it's a 17 still hits.
17 hits, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So first one was 17, the second one was 15.
15 doesn't hit. But the
No damage.
oh, apologies. How much
17
was it?
damage with the first hit, 15 with the second
Jesus.
hit.
Bruh, he's looking real unwell. There's like parts of it is just falling away now. Seems to be stumbling a bit. Um, it just carries on trying to attack you, I think.
Yeah, yeah, could I've suckered it in.
No, I rolled a 2 and a 1. He's
That's what I
just
rolled that round that I fumbled. Only I
oh no.
rolled a 1 and I rolled a 1 and a 2. Tit for
Oh,
tat.
so I think what happens is um the first hit, he tries to pull you off of it, and he's roaring. That it's just one long sort of stream of him being irate. Uh, and the second, because it's a fumble, I think what happens is he's just desperate because you're taking so big chunks out of him now. He's like wrestling with you, and he doesn't pull you off of him, but he does it. He's like pulling at you, and then obviously himself because you just clung on in such a way that he falls over, and ends up rolling a little way down this hill. Just bits of
Away
fucking
from
debris,
Morwood.
yeah, away from Morwood, and now he's prone with you essentially on top of it. Um, and so he'll need to spend sort of like an action getting up, and your attacks now have advantage until he stands up. Um, the that's his go. That's his fucking go. Here's your go. This is round 6.
First attack. Oh, I didn't roll advantage. But that's a hit anyway. Oh, I should roll in case I get a crit, shouldn't I?
Yes, yeah.
No, not a crit, exactly the same. So first attack does 4, does 9 plus Slayer's Prone is 4, 9. So 13 with the first attack.
Okay. Yep.
What's advantage? Is it?
It's basically roll twice. You roll
All right.
twice to attack. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I mean, how do you do it without having to roll it twice?
Oh,
You can
press
hold down,
shift.
can't you?
Shift.
Shift. Yeah, it's too late. I've done it now.
Yes.
It's a hit.
Yeah.
No crit.
Um, he has 1 hit point left.
Eight,
So how do you want to do this?
8 points of damage.
8 points of damage. Uh, you basically that first one, he had 14 hit points left, and you did
Oh,
13.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So the first hit you slash, and then mist goes flying, and then the second. I mean, how do you want to do this? How do you want this to look?
Well, it's missed, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I'll probably end up grabbing the last chunk of it
it's
and
glowing. It's
shaking
like
it.
glowing white, and this has more like
Yeah,
this last piece of it.
shaking it in my jaws as I
Yeah,
rip it off, like tear it off
you
and
tear it,
spit
and it
it out,
dissipates in your mouth. You spit it out, and it's just
dribbling
like,
out, dribbling
yeah,
out
it's like
like blood.
luminous white blood is just all in your mouth. Um, and you howl, this triumph. The mist around is just slowly lowering and dissipating. You can see up the hill. She's for the next 24 seconds. She seems to be busy doing this. Unless you want to do something, you watch as she is um completing, as you saw in the memory, this ancient rite. a small amount of blood across her palm, and she spreads it like she's sort of like covering this silver wheel in blood. And as she's doing it, you see the last remnants of the moon as it goes over the horizon, like sort of like an eclipse of red,
Yeah.
just at the last bit, but only if you were looking for it, and it disappears behind the horizon. You feel a there's a release of defeating an enemy, that rush of adrenaline. You can feel the heartbeat in your ears, and it starts to slow down, and this weird sensation of you being both in a memory in this dream realm and controlling the real realm starts to blur together, and you're in your body now, fully, completely come out of this dream realm, and you feel your skin start to tighten into skin rather than fur. Your talons shorten into your nails. You feel your snout cracking into the form of a human face, and you are Liam again. And the mist is completely gone, and the morning light is grey rather than dark now, over the hill, and Morwood is stepping serenely towards you. She's performing a small spell. It looks like cure wounds or something on her hands and on her arm where you had bitten her. She starts to sort of heal herself as she's making her way towards you, and she seems exactly the same as she did when she was in this realm, the dream realm with you. But you are completely you now. I think probably sort of you were hunched in sort of all fours,
Yeah.
being this form, and you can stand up now. She's still quite tall. She's a 6 foot, 7 foot something. I can't remember what I said, but she is still quite
Cool.
tall.
Yeah.
And she comes to meet you midway down these steps. Thank you, Liam O'Brien. It is a great service you have done for me and this realm. I believe we should make our way back through the forest towards Caer Sidi tower. And she sort of like nods northward. And you can see where you guys had seen originally when you'd first been in this woods, very far off. This tower is much closer to you now. Obviously, you'd run towards it essentially. Um, and she's offering to take you back to this tower.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can see that it is slowly turning.
Right.
Or
Which we saw before,
yeah,
didn't
it's
we?
revolving tower. Um, it, I mean, it seems to have always been turning. So as far as you know, it had been. So, um, you walk with her, and if you have anything to say, you can ask her, or she can walk silently with you. It's not like a comfortable silence. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and as you guys approach, as you get
I
closer to
can't think
this
of
tower.
anything else pen to ask her now. Can we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
say that I've got a couple of free
yeah.
questions if things come up in the future? But
You have time with her afterwards if you
yeah.
want. Now that a little bit of meta knowledge here, but now we know that she survives the whole thing with Gwydion.
Yeah.
You do have time if you want to ask those questions in character, or if you want, we could say that you've asked them on the way. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy either
Okay.
way. You start to head up towards the revolving tower.
I'll ask her what the deal is with the tower as well.
This
Was that
is
Aaron Rood's tower?
It is, yes. It was created by her. Um,
Why does it keep on turning all?
uh, s- an enchantment upon it. Um, Forgive me, I do not know why. Simply that it is always has been. It was placed to host those who came to honor her. Perhaps in the way that gods are, it was a way to be distinguishable from other realms, to have a feature unique to her and her abilities. She hosted many great warriors and heroes here, even as I believe you would know them, King Arthur and
Oh,
his.
I've heard of him.
Hmm, I imagine such a person would be spoken of in many realms through his exploits, though it has been a long time since he has visited this place. There have been others, and in fact, one such visitor may interest you. His name was, hang on, Lanek
You know.
Phalet, and I will put that name in the chat for you. There you go. He was a mortal man, but different. I believe that he was the first of your kind. He
That
would
makes
be,
sense by his name.
indeed, the first of those who could take a wolf form. He was a he was very affectionate towards Our Lady. I believe that they may have spent time together, but he is long since dead. His line continues with you and your people. Not all werewolves will be descended from him, though. There are others from the world is large and not limited to the abilities found amongst your people, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does, lass.
She walks with you, and you reach an area where you can now see the bottom of this castle, this revolving tower. And it's completely circular. Parts of it have obviously had damage to it at some point, but you don't think like from battles, maybe, but instead just weathering over time and such. Not great chunks of it or anything like that. It seems mostly intact, but it is evidently very old. Um, and as you both enter this clearing, you see there is a man there waiting, who looks to be as if he was on guard. And as he sees Morwood, he he was sitting watching the woods as they were going along, and he had anticipated your coming by listening. Seen you you and Morwood come through, and he jumps up. Um, and approaches Morwood and he goes, "My lady," and he takes a knee. I wonder if I've got a picture of him. I think I showed you in the last episode a picture of Gwyn, who looks very much like Huel in that
Right.
old elven, long
Yeah.
pointed ears, woad, leathers and animal armor type
Yeah.
gear on, very old looking. He's speaking Sylvan because as you approached and she was talking, she's also speaking Sylvan. So like he's meeting her language as obviously you're a guest
Yeah.
here. Though he does seem to he doesn't kind of he acknowledges you but doesn't show any like hi how are you or whatever like that. It's almost like he's looking at you a little bit
Yeah.
suspiciously. Um and he asks Morwood how uh like was it successful. Before she can answer, he's pointing out that she's got blood on her arm and he's like, who did this? And then he's sort of like, where are the others? Is who all back? And he's just bombarding her with questions. And she's very patient with him. She doesn't seem to lose her temper at all. She answers each one softly and carefully and just um explains that you, her friend, she doesn't introduce you by name. She kind of leaves that if you want to introduce yourself to him. She doesn't automatically do it. But she does introduce him. She says, "This is Gwyn. This is one of my attendants. I believe I Cool will be with your companions now. I sent him once the blast had gone out and I had divined that there were people in this realm that could potentially help us during this calamity. Your friends are, and yourself, I should say, are very unique. You are all quite powerful, and I don't know if it's happened because you came here, or simply it is fated that you should be here as it happened, but I am thankful all the same. You have my gratitude, Liam O'Brien.
And our bond
Yes.
and our pact, our oath. Out of interest, were you able to divine what or who destroyed the traveler, the stranger?
I have not had chance to do much more than glimpse the cause. I must admit I don't know at all what has happened and by whom. Just simply that he must have been destroyed for this to have happened. I can do some more, but unfortunately I am unable to today. Perhaps tomorrow I will have the power to.
After this ceremony that you're talking about,
Yes.
maybe.
I cannot foresee that Gwydion would not wish to take the mantle of the guardian spirit. It is one of great power. And at this point, Gwyn speaks up. And he seems a little bit more, although you haven't actually met Huel at this point. You've obviously met him in
Yeah.
the other games. He seems
Been there.
way more gruff than Huel, and he's sort of like, "You could have done it, my lady. You could have done it better than any of the other options. I don't know why you are not doing it." And she sort of like silences him, sort of not like shut up, but just like gently. They've clearly had this argument a few times, and
Yeah.
she's just putting it to bed at the moment. She says, I have reasons for my decision, Gwyn. You know this. But the decision as to who will take the position is now in the hands of your companions. I believe that if not by convenience of proximity, they would choose the boar for this. There is some time for you to get a short amount of rest, and I can try to discover where their whereabouts currently. I can't say what their decisions are, but I can find out roughly where they are, and you can be pointed in a direction to rejoin them. I believe they will have need of you soon. If there is anything else that I can do for you, please say so. There is much I could tell you about the history of your people, but as somebody who has spent the past thousands of years in this realm, perhaps my greatest gift I can give to you is your blood reading. And from there, you can discover more about yourself on the outside, away from Caer Sidi.
Right. I get you.
Um, she she'll actually allow you to come into the castle if you wish to, though Gwyn sort of stays outside. So if you want to go in, you can go in. It's
Yeah, I don't see why not.
yeah. She takes you inside. There's like a little bridge bit, or like stairs, a little bridge, and you wait for it. It revolves slowly, but there is sort of like a platform that comes round in front of the door that you step onto when it comes round. Um, you go inside. Everything is for Liam. Your knowledge of things from this age, of when these things would have been built, would probably be quite limited. It's probably things that have survived history have been from more like the later Middle Ages onwards. This is clearly built a long, long time ago, and although it's magically built, obviously, still made of it's still constructed in the same way that it would have been by
Oh, I see, yeah.
manual hands, if that makes sense. So
They kept it
things,
all authentic.
yeah, a lot of it is like carved stones. So rather than bricks, it it is just solid slab of curved carved stone in this one wall part, and then another part and another part until on the inside it's not like bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, but it is still very grand inside. um there are like a lot of wooden beams, wooden furniture, obviously the things that surrounds this place. Everything would have been like um grown and shaped from the woodlands around. It's very cozy in here, despite the fact that there's like a fireplace per each place, but per each room. Um, and there's like spiral stone staircase in the center that you can go up to be further up in the tower. Um, you get the impression from the fact that there is like literally no one else here, that it is just Morwyd, Gwyn, and Hwyl here. So I think just by general logic, you would know that there is I mean, Gwyn and Hool are elves, so they're long-lived anyway. There's no way for them to make more attendance because they're both apparently male, and Morwyd's a fae, which although elves are fae, it's a bit of a weird situation. There's
Yeah.
like this seems to be the last of them. They are
Mm.
a dying breed, essentially. Morwyd's desperately trying to hold on to the last remnants of her lady in this world, having no knowledge of anything that's happened outside, really, except from these wandering adventurers that come in and die. And she gleans bits of information from their minds. Makes you think back to the when you said about the vampire, and she seems to be like she had no knowledge of what a vampire was. She doesn't know what the fuck a vampire is because from her time, she was born in this place. She's never stepped outside. She only knows the history of Arian Rude and the people
Yeah.
here. You can make yourself comfortable for a while. Um, you see that there's a lot of it's having lived in a place where being very connected with nature. It's like I say, it's very comfortable. Um, and then she has gone over to this like wooden bowl thing, and there's water in it, and she's like scrying on what's happening. Um, her eyes kind of glaze over uh, as she is seeing things that are happening in this realm from this bowl. And after a little while, she turns to you and she says, "Who is with your friends? As I expected, they had met with the old boar and have seemed to have come to an agreement with him. They are currently heading towards the Dark Mage. I believe that if you were to leave now and head in a southerly direction, you would intersect them. Afterwards, I will I will meet with you, I imagine, for the ritual for Gwydion. And then after this we can discuss this blood reading.
Okay.
I wish you luck."
I've got a feeling we won't need luck.
Hmm, is that positivity?
That was Ken's sarcasm.
Wow. Um, she leads you outside the castle again, and
And I'll head off
yeah,
to the. Yeah.
and as has already been described, about 10 minutes after your journey has started, Hool, in owl form, glides down to meet
Yeah.
you,
Sure. Yeah. And I
and
shoot him.
you shoot him. Change the time. And that is it for the start of Liam's
Awesome.
story.
Yeah.
I hope
Excellent.
that that's
That wasn't what I expected at all for
no.
the. No, it's better.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Obviously there is a lot more for Liam to discover, as there is for pretty
Yeah.
much every single one of the characters. I've written a lot of stuff that could potentially be done. So there's lots of plot hooks there, although you may not realize it just yet. Um, there's some obvious ones, and then there's some others that may come a little bit later that you're like, oh, um,
Well,
that you may or may
I'm
not
gonna.
follow. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm not interested at the moment because I'm after following on from whatever the blood right.
Yeah.
But one thing that did come to mind was if Liam does get rid of the curses
Mhm.
and can think straight, he would then possibly look at trying to find a Fey partner for Morwood so she could carry on her line in Caer Sidi.
I did expect that. That's really sweet. But yeah, I like that. Oh, that's really cute.
But
Um,
only if he gets once he's
yeah,
it would
obviously when he
only
gets
come
what he
into his
wants.
head. Yeah.
But
When he's
yeah,
not obsessed with his current situation.
I think that's the thing is Liam is so singularly minded in the sense of this is the goal, I will get it. Um, you know,
Well, it's
vampires
the
must
hunt is
die.
what's
Kill them.
made him such a good hunter.
Yeah,
It's his
exactly.
single mindedness. But
Yeah,
maybe that's come from his history.
yeah,
What's happened to him has
yeah.
made him single minded.
Exactly. When you grow up and you don't know anything different, it feels like nature. So,
Yeah.
whereas as she was explaining, it's not natural. It's very much
No.
not how it should be. But of
Yeah.
course, it has
Which has
served.
opened his eyes. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
and now you have a piece of knowledge that, for as far as you know, no other werewolf in the world knows.
Yeah.
That this was, unless they're like anciently old, which is not a regular thing that, well, werewolves are long lived, but not, you know, they're not immortal.
Fey not Fey long lived.
Yeah. Whereas vampires are very, very long lived and are frankly immortal unless something, like a Liam
Yeah.
happens to them. Right. Well, I'm really glad you enjoyed
Excellent.
it.
Thanks, Steve. Yep. Really good.
Thanks for joining us on session one of Liam's story. We will continue aspects of this during the main game, and then any further aspects during more sessions of the Liam
Yeah.
story. Um, Maybe with some guest NPCs, which would be cool. And we'll see you next time. See you at
Cheers,
session
mate.
16.
Take care,
Bye.
guys.